Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, Chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, Text 14, page 213. Na karmani, namam karmani limpante. Name karma pale sviha. Iti mam yo vishyati. Karma birnasa bhajyate. Namam karmani limpanti. Name karma pale sviha. Iti mam yo vijanti. Karma birna sabit bhajyate. Someone else? Nam karmani limpanti. Name karma pale. Dimam yo vijananti. Karma birna sabhajyate. Word for word. Na, never. Mum, me. Karmani, all kinds of work. Limpanti, to effect. Na, nor. Me, my. Karma, pale, in fruit of action. Spriha, aspiration. Iti, thus. Mam, me. Yaha, one who. Abhijanati, does know. Karma, by the reaction of such work. Na, never. Sa, he. Bhajati, become entangled. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruit reactions of work. Please repeat. There's no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in further reaction of work. Purport. There are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong, or the king is not subject to state laws. Similarly, although the Lord is the creator of this material world, he is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in fruitive results of material activities because of their propensity for lording over material resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. Living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so-called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. The proprietor never desires low-grade happiness such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material action and reaction. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appear on the earth, although without such rains there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Sutras confirm this fact as follows. Nimiti matram eva sho Sri Janam Sarga Karmani Radan Karni Bhuta Yato Vai Sri Ya Sakyaha. In material creation, Lord is only the supreme cause. The immediate cause is the material nature, by which the cosmic manifestation is made visible. The created beings are of many varieties, such as demigods, human beings, lower animals, and all of them are subject to the reaction of their past good or bad activities. Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of nature, but he is never responsible for their past and present activities. In the Vedanta Sutra 2.134, it is confirmed, Vaishamya nirgrinye na sapek sattvat. Lord is never partial to any living entity. Living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives them facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of this law of karma, the fruit of activities, does not become affected by the results of his activities. In other words, a person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness, and thus he is never subject to the laws of karma. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord, and thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results, as are the activities of the ordinary living entity, certainly becomes entangled himself in fruitive reactions. One who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul, fixed in Krishna consciousness. Om Aryanat Ramdasya Jana Jana Sakaya Sakshu Limitam Zena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Kapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadammayam Tanti Swapadanteham Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyata Parakamalam Nigurun Vaishnavam Sha Sri Rupam Sargajatam Sagana Raghunatham Samsajivam Sadvaitam Sarutam Vrijna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shiva Shavantam Cham Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Vigapate Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Nosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Hare Vrindavan Ishwari Vishabandhu Sute Devi Priyamani Hari Priye Vanchakopaturubhyascha Pipa Sindhu Evacha Pannam Pavnevyo Vaishnavyo Namo Naha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation once again. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruit of actions of work. So this section of Bhagavad-Gita is called Transcendental Knowledge. And verses 9 through 15 explain that Krishna is the goal of all paths and the creator of the Varnashram system. One time a reporter asked Prabhupada about the caste system in India. What about the caste system in India? And Prabhupada said, where do you find caste system in Bhagavad-Gita? Because people have this misconception that the caste system is something that some system that restricts people or is doesn't give people freedom. That the caste system is a kind of torture. Caste system is a something that tortures people, makes people unhappy. But where the Varnashram system is the Daivi Varnashram system, which was created by the Lord Himself to organize society in such a way that people can live happily and peacefully according to their Varna and Ashram. It's not a system that suppresses people and makes them unhappy, but it's a system that can be a system that reigns in such a way that everyone can work peacefully and at the same time to engage in devotional service. But in this day and age, it's not possible to transform human society into to implement this Varnashram system, because this is Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga things have become so degraded, and people are not willing to hear from the devotees at this point. Of course, the golden age is predicted there will be a golden age for the next 10,000 years, and then people will become more favorable to Krishna consciousness. Then the Varnashram system may be able to be implemented, at least to a certain extent. And some devotees are trying to implement it now in the rural areas, but in the big cities it's not possible, because everyone is below Sudra. Everyone is less than Sudra in Kali Yuga. There's the 4 ashrams, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, and the 4 varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. But in Kali Yuga, Kalo Sudra Samabha, everyone is less than Sudra. So there's no real Brahmins. Brahman means Vaishnava Brahman. Brahman means one who knows the absolute truth, who teaches people, lives a very, has all good qualities. But in this age, there are no such Brahmins, so the acts of Brahmins is to perform sacrifice, but since there's no Brahmins, Lord Chaitanya said that he sacrifice animals, cow or a horse sacrifice, this is forbidden in this age, because the sacrifices had to be, the person chanting the mantras had to chant them perfectly, and someone would check the reciter. If they chanted the mantras perfectly, then the animal sacrifice would get a new body. It would be rejuvenated, with not killing. But if the mantras are not chanted properly, then the sacrifice will be a failure, and the people who do the sacrifice will have to suffer a karmic reaction for killing an animal. So there are no Brahmins, there are no Kshatriyas, there are no Vaishyas. Vaishya means cow protection, then agriculture, and banking or commerce. And Krishna lifted Govardhan hill. Indra became angry. We were reading the 6th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, about Indra. Indra is always getting himself in trouble. So Krishna's father was arranging to have a sacrifice to worship Indra, because he thought Indra was responsible for giving rain for the Vaishyas so they can have successful agricultural crops, successful crops. But Krishna told his father that you don't need to perform this Indra Yagya, you should just worship Govardhan hill. So after his father relented and decided that they could postpone the Indra Yagya and worship Govardhan hill. And at that time, Indra, because he was proud of his position, being the king of heaven, and thought he was better than Krishna, sent torrents of rain and hailstorms, and put the inhabitants of Vrindavan in a very distressful condition. And that time, Krishna, they called for Krishna to help. So Krishna lifted the hill, Govardhan hill, with the left finger, with his little finger of his left hand, and held it for 7 days. And that hill expanded 32 miles. So all the residents of Vrindavan, and the cows and the gopis and all their paraphernalia were able to come under the hill and take and not be affected by the wrath of Indra. So after that, Indra understood that he wasn't all in all, and he stopped the rain, and then Krishna put the hill down. And he told the Vaishyas that their duty was to protect the cow and to do agriculture and commerce, trading. The Prabhupada wrote there that today people are more interested in protecting dogs and cats than protecting cows. So that's this Kali Yuga. So there's no Vaishyas. And Sudra is defined in the 7th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, that Sudra is supposed to be an honest person, supposed to be a clean person. He's supposed to serve the other classes, the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. But today you can't trust anybody. You get a servant, and as soon as you turn your back, he'll steal your money and go away. So this is even, by definition, there's no Sudras even. So but this system was created by Krishna to be followed by human society, to make human society stable. So so people could practice Krishna consciousness and make their human life successful. So, this verse is an elaboration of the last verse. And the last verse said, according to the three modes of material nature and work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I'm the creator of this system, you should know I'm yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So the Krishna is again stating his position here. Not affected, he's not in any way affected by the material energy. So Krishna cannot do anything wrong. But again, Kali Yuga, many people have become atheists and they don't believe that God exists. I was speaking to one man, first thing he saw me dressed as a devotee, said, well, I don't believe in God. So I talked to him for some time, and then he said, well, maybe there is a God. But this is a foolish misconception. Let's say there's no God. Let's say there's no creator. Let's say everything happened by chance, that the scientists say, the Big Bang Theory. Or they show one movie in the Museum of Science and Industry in America where there's a big fiery ball comes down from nowhere, and the fiery ball, the fire goes out, and then all of a sudden there's water, and then there's fish, and then there's trees, then there's birds, then there's reptiles, insects, then there's beasts, then the monkeys, and then the man. But where does it all come from? It comes from nowhere. There's no creator. It just happened by chance. If you see a nice flower, a nice rose, you smell it, and you know, and you say no one created, it comes from nowhere. Or if you see a nice painting and you ask, who's the artist? You say there's no artist. It just happened by chance. But this is not logical or reasonable to think that everything comes from nothing. Matter, even a living entity, a living entity cannot come from dead matter. They're trying to create living entities in the laboratory, but this is also they cannot do that because life does not come from matter. Life comes from life. And Srila Prabhupada enunciated on that, and so many times defeated that misconception that life comes from matter, that we're just a bunch of chemicals. So anyway, Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam. Ite cham sam palo. Anyway, Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshu Arjuna Tistati. So, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And from Krishna comes the different incarnations of the Lord. And but Krishna says he comes to annihilate the demons and to re-establish religious principles. And he comes to give pleasure to his devotees. But Krishna doesn't have to come to annihilate this it can easily be done by the material nature. So Krishna comes Atmamaya by his internal potency. There's the external energy, there's the internal energy, the spiritual energy, there's the external energy, which is the material world, and there's the marginal energy, which is the living energy of the jiva. So Krishna is not jiva. Krishna is the from the internal energy. But Krishna is the origin of all other incarnations and all other expansions. So it's in the Nectar Devotion that the living entity has 50 qualities, and the demigods, like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, have 5 other qualities, and the Narayan forms, or the Vishnu forms, they have 5 other qualities, and Krishna has 4 qualities which no other incarnations have. So in all, Krishna has 64 qualities in full. The living entity, if he's a pure devotee, he can have 50 qualities. And the Narayan forms, they also have qualities which the jiva doesn't have, and which the demigods don't have, and they can give liberation to the demons they kill. So this is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, and no one can falsely claim to be God. God means that one supreme person, no one's equal to or greater than them. When Krishna was in Dwarka, one messenger came to the assembly house and said to Krishna that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you have taken my insignias, my disc, club, lotus flower, conch shell, falsely claiming that they belong to you. So this was King Pundraka. And when Krishna heard this, all the members of the assembly, plus Krishna, they laughed for a very long time. So Krishna told the messenger, you tell your Pundraka that I'll surrender to him. I'll surrender my disc to his head. So, and Krishna went there to Kashi, and the king of Kashi was there, and Pundraka was there. And when he saw Pundraka on the battlefield, he looked like Mahavishnu. He had 4 arms, he had earrings, he had so many things. He looked like Vishnu. But Krishna saw him and could clearly understand he was an imitation. And Krishna said, I will promise that I will surrender my disc to you. And he did that by cutting off his head. Even in time of Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, one man, his name was Bhikshu, he was claiming that he was the Supreme Personality of God, that he was God, and by he was showing some magic and fooling the innocent people. So Bhakti-Vinod Thakur had him arrested and put in jail. So this Bhikshu had some mystic power, and when Bhakti-Vinod Thakur put him in jail, Bhakti-Vinod Thakur and his whole family became deathly sick. So they brought the person to the court, and Bhakti-Vinod somehow also came to the court, because he was a district magistrate, and the lawyer, they knew the secret that Pundraka's power, or not Pundraka, Bhikshu, he had the power was in his hair. So somehow they managed to cut off his hair, and he fell unconscious, and he ended up dying in jail. And that was the end of Mahavishnu, or the so-called Vishnu. So Krishna is aloof. It says he's aloof. He never gets entangled in the reaction to karma. And that sense gratification, or the result of sense gratification, what we experience, the happiness and the stress, Krishna has nothing to do with these things. It says it's like the rain. The rain pours water on the land, but it's not that the rain decides what's going to grow and what the results will be. The rain is simply not partial. So in the same way, Krishna says that that he's impartial. Soam sarvabhuteshu. He's not partial. Krishna doesn't interfere with our karma. The living entity has minute spiritual sparks, jivas. We have minute independence, and therefore we can use our independence to serve Krishna, or misuse our independence and not to serve Krishna. So if we don't serve Krishna, then we will have to suffer a reaction. For every action, there's equal and opposite reaction. This is the law of karma. The people in the world today, they are all atheists. They don't believe there's a creator. They don't know anything about karma. So they're thinking it's more important to protect the cats and dogs than to protect the cow. And in this way, there's so many so many slaughterhouses in the world where they're killing innocent animals by the millions every year. And for every cow that's killed, whoever is responsible for the killing of a cow will have to take birth for every hair on the body of that cow. So this is the reaction. And because the animals are being slaughtered in the slaughterhouse, can never be peace in the world. As a result of this animal slaughter, there has to be war everywhere. There always has to be some war somewhere. Recently in Nepal, they did an animal sacrifice. They sacrificed 2,000 animals. I don't know if they're cows or buffaloes or whatever, goats. But immediately after that, there was a big earthquake, and the government there banned that sacrifice from now on. So there was immediate reaction. So it may not be immediate reaction, but we know whatever activities you do, there's going to be a reaction in the future. So if someone murders someone, that if he's gets the death sentence, this is the proper punishment for a murderer, because if he's given the death sentence, then he'll not have to suffer his next life for murder. So this is the proper thing the government should do. But nowadays they have some countries, they don't have capital punishment. They don't give them death sentence. So this is also because of lack of understanding of this principle, karma. But so we want people to understand that life does not come from matter, and that there is a supreme controller, and that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna means the all-attractive one. People may say they don't believe in God, but when they're in some difficulty, then they pray to God. In difficulty, people turn to God. After World War II, the communists were not getting the Russians before the communists were not getting food. So the communists came and said, you go to church and pray for bread. So they went to church and prayed for bread, but nothing came. So then the communists said to the people, well, you pray to us for bread. So the communists brought the bread trucks, and the people became atheists. But Krishna is not our order supplier. Krishna says, Patram pushpam valotoyam yome bhaktya prayachati, that you can offer me a leaf, flower, fruit, water, I'll accept. But he wants our devotion. He's not someone that's supposed to fulfill our desires for sense gratification. We shouldn't ask Krishna for anything other than pure devotional service. Namiyalas Sita Sutta Karmajnana Anavitam Anukunena Krishnasno Bhakti Uttamam. So devotional service is free from jnana and karma. This is pure devotional service. Now the incarnation. So Krishna is the original form of the Godhead, and from his body so many incarnations are coming into this world like the waves of the ocean. But again, incarnations, they do things, superhuman things that human beings cannot do. So Krishna, from the very beginning, he took birth in Mathura, but the Kamsa, there was a prophecy at the marriage ceremony when Vasudeva was taking Devaki to their house after their marriage. There was a prophecy or a voice from the sky which announced to Kamsa, who was driving the chariot. He said that, "You fool Kamsa, you do not know, but the 8th child of your sister Devaki will be the cause of your death." So Kamsa wanted to kill Devaki on the spot, but because he was a cruel, vicious man, he had no moral principles. But Vasudeva pacified him and said, "No, you don't have to worry. Devaki is not going to be the cause of your death. It's the 8th child, and there may not be an 8th child. So you should desist from this heinous activity for the time being." But Kamsa still wasn't pacified. So then Vasudeva promised that every child that's born to Devaki, I'll bring to you, and you can do whatever you want with the child. So Kamsa knew that Vasudeva was true to his word. In the 5,000 years ago, people were honest, and if they made a promise, they'd never go against their promise. Just like Yudhisthira had never told a lie. On the Battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna said to Yudhisthira, "Tell Ashwatthama, tell Dronacharya that Ashwatthama is dead," which wasn't true. But Dronacharya couldn't be defeated, and he only would stop fighting if he heard some bad news. So then Bhima came there, and he killed an elephant named Ashwatthama. And then Yudhisthira said to Dronacharya that Ashwatthama is dead. And he said, "The elephant," in a low voice. But because Yudhisthira didn't act on Krishna's promise, then his chariot touched the ground, and he had to see hell momentarily at the end of Mahabharata. So Krishna is not implicated in sinful activities. Krishna, whatever he does, is all good. When Krishna was a small baby, a small boy, the boys were complaining to Mother Yashoda that Krishna was eating dirt, and Balarama and all the boys. And Krishna said, "My dear mother, I never eat dirt. These boys are all liars. If you think I've eaten dirt, then just look in my mouth." So Mother Yashoda looked in the mouth of baby Krishna, and she didn't see any dirt, but she saw the universal form. She saw everything in the creation, including Krishna and herself. So then, 11th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, also, Krishna shows Arjuna the universal form to prove that he, of his supreme power, supreme divinity. If someone is claiming they're God, then we ask them, show us your universal form. And they'll say, well, I can do it, but I'm not going to do it now. Or I'll do it later. But they're simply bluffing. So no one can be Krishna. No one can imitate Krishna. Krishna comes, he's the creator of the Varnashram system, but he doesn't get entangled. He's not there's no reaction on any of his activities. So we're very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada wrote the Krishna book in the beginning of this movement. Srila Prabhupada didn't know how long he would be on the planet, because he was a 70, over 70 years old, and he knew that he was at the fag end of his life and that he could go at any time. So he wrote the summary study of the 10th canto, which is the Krishna book. And if you read that, then you will get the understanding of the position of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna. One time we were traveling Sankirtan somewhere in America, in some small city. We were distributing Krishna books door to door. I went to someone's door, I knocked on the door, I showed them the Krishna book, and they said, whoa, we read that book every night. So the more people get our Prabhupada's books, Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the more they can become Krishna conscious and understand that life is not simply meant for eating, sleeping, mating, defending, chewing the chew. Prahlad Maharaj says people who are trying to enjoy the material world, it's like chewing the chew. You can chew some sugar cane for a few minutes, and then spit it out, and chew it again later, but there won't be any taste. So the material world is like that. The more people try to enjoy, the more they suffer, and they're bound up. Just like if you commit a crime, they put you in handcuffs. You're bound up by rope, hand and foot, in the material cycle of repeated birth and death. There's 8,400,000 species of life, and there's 900,000 in the water, 2 million trees and plants, 1,100,000 insects, 1 million birds, 3 million beasts, and 400,000 human beings. But only of that 400,000 human beings, which include the demigods, 20% are actually civilized human beings. A civilized human being is someone who accepts the spiritual master and follows the teaching in the Vedas, and follows the teachings of Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago at the end of Dwarka Yuga. He comes once in the day of Brahma and exhibits all his wonderful pastimes to prove that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When they were writing up the papers to incorporate ISKCON, or Krishna consciousness, in America, the lawyer said, well, I think you should call this the International Society for God Consciousness. But Srila Prabhupada said, no, I want this to be the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He wanted people to know that God is a person, God has a name, form, qualities, and specific, his name is Krishna. So 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya also came as Yuga Avatar, and he inaugurated the Sankirtan movement. And Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalo, Puna Stevana, Stevana, Steva, Gatyar Anyata. So the process in this age for becoming God conscious for making our lives successful is the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago. He also had many wonderful pastimes. Lord Anantasesh is glorifying the Lord pastimes. He can never come to the end of the glories of Krishna's pastimes or of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So in the beginning of his life, Lord Chaitanya was called Nimai Pandit. He didn't reveal his identity. But after he went to Gaya, took initiation from Ishvarapuri, he came back to Navadvip, started exhibiting ecstatic symptoms, and people thought that he'd gone mad. And so they were telling his mother Sachi, you should put oil on his head, coconut oil, or give him coconut water, rub his head with Vishnu oil, and keep him bound up. So then Srivas Thakur came to the house of Mother Sachi and saw Lord Chaitanya. And Srivas Thakur said that I wish I could have this same kind of madness, because he could understand that Lord Chaitanya didn't have a wind disorder or any material disease, but he was exhibiting the highest ecstatic symptoms of Mahabhav. So Lord Chaitanya came, and in golden complexion, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Naya Naya, and he's the combined form of Radha and Krishna. And Chaitanya Charitamrita was the crest jewel. Srila Prabhupada said when he was on the Jaladuda and going through so many tribulations and so much disturbances, he said that Chaitanya Charitamrita was his only solace. And Bhaktisiddhanta said, if you're drowning in the ocean, you should take 3 books with you: Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. But if those books get heavy, you can let go of the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad-Gita, but you should always hold on to Chaitanya Charitamrita, because Chaitanya Charitamrita contains all the truths about devotional sellers, devotional mellows, about Lord Chaitanya, about Krishna, everything we need to know in Krishna consciousness. It's all there, especially in the talks between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy. He inquired from Ramananda Roy what was the ultimate goal of life, and Ramananda Roy was empowered by Lord Chaitanya to speak what was the ultimate goal of life, and that is to attain love for Sri Sri Radha and Krishna and follow in the footsteps of the gopis of Vrindavan. So the members of the society, we should have firm faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He's come in the form of His holy name. He's come in the form of His deity form, the Archa Vigraha. If someone thinks that the deity form is made of stone or wood, then he's of a hellish mentality. We're not worshipping idol. It's not idol worship. The Muslims came to Vrindavan and destroyed many temples and deities because they think that deity worship is idol worship, or the product of the devil. But the deity is installed by the Pran Pratishtha ceremony, and therefore the Lord is invited to enter into that form. And according to our devotion, we can worship the deity and understand that it's not an idol, but the deity has a form, and that form, through devotion, can accept our devotional service. So we cook for the deity, we dress the deity, we give him so many, we do so many things to have a very high standard of deity worship, so the people can come from all over the world and take darshan of Gaurnitai, Krishna Balaram, and Radhashama Sundar, and get the understanding that God is a person, God has a form, and God is not simply an energy, or there is no God. And these are all Mayavadi conceptions. The Mayavadis say Jagat Mitra, Brahma Satya Jagat Mitra, that the material world is false, and Brahman is the ultimate goal, to merge into Brahman and become or to become void. Well, Lord Chaitanya defeated this argument, that the Mayavadi argument and Mayavadi philosophy, and says anybody hears Mayavadi philosophy is doomed. So, devotees, we do not want to merge into the Brahman effulgence. We want to, because that's considered spiritual suicide. But as Javera Subhoy and Nitya Krishna Das, we're the eternal servants of Krishna, so we have a loving relationship with Krishna, and that has to be revised or realized by this process of change 16 rounds, following the 4 regulated principles, and gradually by hearing Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaram, by hearing about Krishna, by hearing these pastimes, then we will not be bewildered in any way, thinking that God cannot be a person, or that there is no God. These are all nonsense propositions.